this I was taught long ago. Between the sender and the receiver is a conduit. It's a conduit, a channel. In that channel, there is noise. There is noise within the channel such that when you send a message to the receiver, you say, hi. When it bounces back to you as a sender, you're not going to hear hi anymore. You're going to hear something different. If you say good morning, if it's going to come back to you, it's going to sound, because there are pollutants within the communication channel, within the conduit. Therefore, in patient management or practice management, you want to be sure that you use the right words to pass across the right message without any ambiguity, so that the feedback will be exactly the message that you had sent out. And this also applies in conflict resolution amongst your team members, such that when you are resolving a conflict, you want to be sure that there is that noise in the conduit, because someone is reporting to you, oh, that your staff AB says so and so. Another person is saying this and that. Remember, the second and third and tertiary level reporting is not pure information anymore. It's already been distorted and polluted. So what you are hearing is not the right message anymore. It's already polluted. In patient care, you have better patient loyalty and satisfaction when you have this going on. We're already running out of time now. So effective communication, when you express your ideas and views clearly, confidently, and concisely, is what we are taught when we did some ARD politics. Without breaking any heads, you clearly express your ideas confidently and concisely in speech, and you go on with what you have to talk about. I'm going to skip this. It's basically talking about communication skills. Let's keep this also. Telephone skills. This is something you probably want to teach your front desk staff. Okay, this is where I was going to mention Kemi Adeleke's name. Kemi, are you listening to this? I just told Kayode this morning that quite a few people spoke to me from GSK, and now the MD is gone. I wish he will hear this. They all spoke to me over the phone, but one particular lady spoke to me over the phone, and I was stuck on her. Yeah, I said, just say your name one more time. My name is Adekemi Adeleke. Huh? Are you also with GSK? She said yes. I said, wonderful. You are the best voice I've had on the phone with GSK since I've been talking to all of these guys. And so what that means is she's trained to talk on the phone. And when I saw her photograph on WhatsApp, I was not surprised, because she has this warm, glowing personality, and the personality actually just matched with the voice I heard. So telephone skills is something that we want to learn. I'll skip this part. I'll skip this also, because I want to round up now. But there are some concepts I wanted to bring up. So listening, for the most part, we want to learn to listen more than we speak, because then it helps and we show empathy. And there is what we call active listening also, that the patient feels you are actually listening to me, and you are empathizing by so doing. Okay, I want to talk. Okay, I'll show you this photograph, even though I'm running out of time, just because I want to show off. So sometimes it's not all work, and sometimes you just want to play. And sometimes when you want to play, vice body, you can just get a talking drum and begin to play. And when you play the talking drum and your audience is not understanding what you are saying, man, you just keep playing all the same. These guys did not understand what I was doing, but I was playing the talking drum and they were happy. Like, oh my God, this is from Africa. All right, so it happens. Just like I'm talking now, and we're just talking. All right, so you have a dental team that you are building. The more you build that team, the more success you make. The more you engage them, the better for your practice, because they are the ones that will do the internal marketing for you. You cannot do it alone, okay? So still a dental team here. You give them opportunities to develop their skills. You give them opportunity to express themselves. You give them opportunities to buy into the goals and the business direction of your practice. Okay, now I was going to talk, we're almost rounding up now. And this is something that my big friend and very senior colleague from Lagos Business School would probably expatiate upon. I thought I could just throw this in. Economies of scale. Economics of scale is something that we look into when we begin to go from one practice and you're going into 2 or 3 practices under the same name. What that simply means is that your output is increasing and the cost of production is reducing at the same time. It comes when you have grown to a particular point, like Odontoville has done, like Shop has done. You've grown to a particular point such that you can now open another dental office. And in opening the other dental office, your cost of production is actually reducing instead of increasing. And that's what we call economies of scale. And it's not until you've gotten to this point that you can now begin to think of opening other offices. It gets to a point where you get saturated, which you now start calling on the other side of a hyperbolic curve. That will be the diseconomies of scale. Because at that point, any further growth will cost you more. Your cost will begin to increase as your growth increases. That will be the diseconomies of growth. But economies of growth is something that we talk about when we start branching off. And in branching off, you need some leadership abilities to be able to continue to engage your team and carry them along. And one of such leadership abilities is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, because we are all emotional beings, and you need to understand people. And the people you have, the kind of staff you have in your office, they give you the competitive edge in business. They give you the competitive edge from one dental office to the other. And you need to build trust. When you make commitments to your staff, you don't want to break such commitments, because once trust is broken, once commitments are broken, you break trust also. You engage your team. You want them to own the goals of your practice, the business goals of your practice. And the last point there is employment compliance. You document things based on the rules of engagement in the environment in which you are working. At this point, I'm going to speak for the very young ones, for the house officers or the post-NYC doctors who come into dental offices to work. And I mentor some of them. What I've realized so far is many senior colleagues, and I'm sorry to say this, do not give letters of employment to the young doctors when they come into the offices. We don't do that. I will not say I don't know why, but when I teach the young dentists, I tell them when you get a job somewhere, ask for a letter of employment so you can know, one, how much you are paid, how you'll be paid. If you're going to be fired, how will you be fired? If you're going to resign from a place, how would you? Don't assume that I got a job, they pay me 200,000 naira a month, and I'm just fine. There should be a letter of employment. I'm rounding up. Now, I came with this, and I'm going to leave us with this. I was talking with my dean, and he said something yesterday or so, day before yesterday, on Monday, and it kind of got me thinking. He was thinking about how we could win the dental education from government, and he was thinking about bringing in the dental suppliers to partner with the teaching hospital and the dental and the universities in running dental schools. And I was like, oh, okay. So let us think about that. How feasible is it for instance, Dr. Sude to bring in all the dental equipment, and Professor Rotiba to head the dental school, and the Lagos University Hospital to bring the other things, and they are working together, sharing the profit, and you have a seamless flow of things. I don't know how it will work. I shared this idea with my professor, and he said, it seems like it works in China, and Henry Shen and some of those other companies probably also are into that. But it's something we could think about as we go along. These are some of the references I used in preparing this presentation. And while I'm saying thank you, I'll let you know that's my daughter, and that's my son, and that's the most beautiful woman in the entire world. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Government Operations. We're going to have coming up to the podium Mr. Isaac Orolugbagbe. Please, let's give him a round of applause. While he's been set up with all the accoutrements, I think this is a very, very interesting and important paper for today, because he's mentioning the word marketing. And I've heard some people say that marketing is taboo in medicine, it's taboo in dentistry. And I remember that they say if you sell something without marketing it, it's like winking in the dark. So perhaps it's going to help us illuminate this aspect. Please, let's give him a warm round of applause once more.
Hello. Oof, it's too much. Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Orolu Bagbe. I'm standing in for Solomon, as you have heard, and I will try to do my best to do justice to the topic that they've given me. Before I start, I want to thank the GSK team, my colleagues at Lagos Business School, and the Nigerian Medical Association for giving me, Nigerian Data Association, for giving me an opportunity to share my own views on this topic. We're going to go through it in 4 steps. I will do some introduction as we are doing now, and then I will take you through my own concept of business strategy. Then we'll look at business strategy generally, then we move into the operations and service strategy, because the topic says I should look at strategic marketing and the impact it will have on your operation. So I will discuss generally operations strategy, and if we have time, we can look at some of the tactics that you will use to deliver the operations. Okay. Times have changed. I've been discussing with a friend in the hall. Medical profession is a very conservative profession. There are a lot of rules and guidelines that are very strict that we have to follow. When we give knife to somebody to have the power to cut another man, then we must be very sure. We have to be careful who you hand over such an authority to. I mean, you cannot empower. Well, we shout about empowerment a lot. We want to empower our staff to be able to smile. We want to empower our children to be able to do things. But do you empower a 6-year-old child by handling knife to her? So the medical and the dental profession definitely do need to care who they empower. And in that order, how we market, how we communicate the practice, really becomes an issue. But then, be that as it may, the world is definitely changing. The way we have the internet now, affecting our businesses, it was not the way when we carved those laws during the time of Hippocrates. Things are changing. Consumers are buying much more than your skills as doctors. Consumers are buying hope. They want to pay for peace of mind. And you must be an embodiment of all these expectations, irrespective of your medical degree. The expectations are many. What the 15-year-old patients are looking for is not the same as what the 50-year-old and the 70-year-old or the 35-year-old are looking for. We have our idiosyncrasies. Since I have the money in my pocket, I like you and your rules, but I vote for the man who gives me those satisfaction and who meets my expectations. No, I don't give money to those who play by the rule. I pay money to those who meet my expectations. Now, these days, we have options. We, the patients, do have options. We have an option to go to Dubai. We have option to go to Lasut. We have option to go to private medical practice. There are all sorts of options. In fact, GSK is becoming a dental company. Gone are the days of toothpaste only. Now you are having other oral care products being offered even by a regular OTC company. So in a way, they are competing with you. So many other organizations are coming up, selling solutions which we ordinarily used to go and obtain from the dentist. We need to know this reality. Medical marketing and dental marketing is evolving. If you go behind, just cross the border and go to the United States, you will see that there's a new trend and there's a new movement that is going on. Whether you like it or not, yeah, you are conservative, you are following the European tradition, the British age-long traditions. These people are coming into your market. And they are coming in with all the resources. Now you see the group, medical group from Asia are opening branches here, and they are offering full complements. They may not market and advertise aggressively in Nigeria. They will advertise in Dubai. They will advertise in Singapore and Shanghai. The impact of those adverts will catch your customers in Nigeria. You can stay by your rule, but I'm telling you, there are impacts from outside the borders that will change the name of the game. We, the clients, just like I've said before, we are buying your reputation, we are buying your image, we are buying your brand, we are buying your passion. The last time I went to hospital, I'll give you my experience. I was very ill. I actually was flown from London on a wheelchair. And I got to see this consultant who can fix all my problems. So I started seeing him first week, second week, third week. One very irritating thing about the practice is that every time you go, you have to sit for about 2.5 or 3 hours before you can get to see this powerful consultant. Then I asked myself, must I sit for 3 hours before I see him? Is there no process of managing appointments? Isn't this man thinking that those of us in pain should not be kept on chairs for 3 hours? Well, there was this unfortunate day. I have a client in the neighborhood, so I came in early. I was number 15. So I told the receptionist, can I quickly go and see my client when I come back? By the time I came back, which is 1 hour, they have moved to number 16. And then number 17 has also been waiting. The receptionist authorized me to go. I came back. The other patients will not tolerate me going in. It was noisy. And I said, madam, I've also been here. Look at my leg. I can't walk just like you. Anyway, the receptionist was able to calm the lady temporarily. And then I went in. As soon as I got in to see the consultant, there was a lot of noise outside again. And I told the consultant, your patients are making noise outside because I'm in here. So he rushed out to see the patient, a young lady who is very forceful. And of course, he came back. I don't know what they discussed. And he said, sir, you are wrong. You went out. You shouldn't have come in. And then he attended to me in about 1 minute and dismissed me. And of course, with the invoice, paid 25,000 naira to my cashier after 1 minute engagement. Of course, I paid. But do you think I will ever enter that clinic again? Who is he? Is he God? Now, why do you manage an appointment in a manner that causes pain and negative feeling to your patients? Queuing theory, queuing management, appointment booking, these are simple technology that you can use an SMS to handle, or a diary. There are a lot of doctors who do very well in that regard. For me, yes, it's an expert, it's very good, but I cannot stand that irritation. So I found a younger doctor who solved my problem, cheaply too. So, now, medical and dental practice, like the professor has said, these are all businesses. Those of us on this side of the world, offering courier service, painting, banking, we've identified very early that we are businesses. And some of us are lucky enough that even when we were in school, we were taught the business side of our vocation. And you see, the legal practice is a very classic example. While they're in school, they are taught how to manage their practice. I think the pharmacists also do very well in that. In my own profession, well, it's a different ballgame. They didn't tell you I'm a chemist before I became an accountant. In fact, I was a potential medical student who could not cross the markup line to enter the faculty of medicine in Great Ife then. But I thank God for what he has created me to be. So today, I'm going to try and share with you some of those things that we share with our students that come to Lagos Business School to reflect on how to, improve their businesses. Now, strategy is very, well, let me say, people use all sort of jargons when we teach it. And we try as much as possible not to bother you with any of those jargons. I will also try to let you know there is nothing special about it, so don't get scared. This is an art you have always practiced in your various other lives. All you haven't done is to put it in practice maybe for your business. When you want to become a pharmacist, you went to school, didn't you? You read physics, chemistry, biology. Why? Because you know that you must have those things for you to make it to medical school or dental school. And in dental school, there are also guidelines on the things you have to do. So your dream was to be a pharmacist. That is the desired goal. At the time you committed yourself to be a pharmacist, that is the starting point. So you want to move from one point to another point. And the things you do to achieve your goals are the things we discuss in strategy. Before you can become a pharmacist, you need to check yourself. What are your natural endowments? Did God create you to be an artist, or He created you to be a pharmacist? You need to check whether you have the things that it takes to make it. We call that analysis. You have to analyze what are your natural competencies. You look at your environment. Is there a demand for dentists to start with? If you go and read a course that nobody is trying to buy, you will be jobless. Like I was jobless when I read chemistry. I came out of school and I didn't see any vacancy in any newspaper looking for my qualification. It was surprising. I went through newspaper for 3 months, not a single advert. So I had to go back to school because the vacancy I was seeing was for a particular vocation. So I went to acquire that competence so that I can become vacant. Now, this analysis is telling you whether there's a market for your expertise, whether there's market, whether there's even a growing market or it's a dying market. The population that will patronize you, who are they? Are they going to be increasing? Do they have money? Would they be women or girls or boys? How do you talk to them? The environment, government, laws, tax, everything you need to check whether they will protect your kingdom when your kingdom eventually appears. Now, these are issues about strategy. These are issues about strategy. When I finish, I hope your interest to understand the concept will be stimulated. And then you can go back and really begin the study and your lessons on strategy. Now, before I talk too much, I want us to take us back to what is happening in Nigeria today. We cannot come here and be learning how to make money without going back to the essence of who we are. Because if you are chasing money, you can get all the money and destroy yourself. So I have this nice quote here. For you to achieve success beyond success, you must make sure that your behavior is consistent with your values. When a person has a behavior that is consistent with his value, he will definitely achieve unconditional success, which we call success beyond success. There are a lot of people with money today who cannot sleep. There are so many, unfortunately, you don't see that in Nigerian telly. We just see how people are spraying money. You do not see these so-called rich people whose children are already on cocaine, whose brains are already warped. The things we do that we are celebrating, we celebrate madness. I see a big industry that we have in Nigeria today. Every time I look at it, I marvel. Wedding parties. The party of my child is bigger and more expensive than the party of your child. And we have event centers all over the country. Factories are closing. Event centers are taking over. And what are we doing? We're celebrating foolishness. We're celebrating waste. Do you know most of these parents cannot even write a check of 5 million for their daughter who is getting married? But they rather buy champagne and entertain visitors that they won't allow the groom to shake hand with. Have you not noticed in Lagos? When they are bringing gifts, the groom is not allowed to shake hand with the guest that is bringing the gift. Why? They think he's coming with juju and he can kill them. Why do you invite your enemy to a party. Oh, you haven't noticed that? God bless you. I just want you to think about it. Now, talking about success beyond success, take time to ponder about somebody that you like, that you love, maybe a mentor, or a teacher, or a TV star, or a character in a novel or movie that you really like and you admire and that you consider your role model. Just ponder one or two characters. Now, ask yourself, what are the things that that role model has that you admire? Microphone. Can somebody volunteer a response? Tell us about your role model and what you admire about your role model or that character. Wow. You don't want to help me? Can somebody volunteer his or her role model? Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. I have a role model, but I don't want to mention names here.
Okay.
And what I actually admired about that person was the knowledge base. And I just wanted to have that kind of knowledge and do exactly what that person was doing.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Any other person? Wow. Okay. No. Oh, yes. There's a lady there. Please. Quickly. You can see my own role models on the screen. Aha. I have my own. Oh.
All right. One of my role models is Barack Obama, and that's definitely how he plays out the global politics and how he gets things to easily move around the world without really applying the military method. So that's mine.
Thank you. I think we have somebody else on this side. Okay, we can move on because time is not so much. Oh, okay, yes. Where's the microphone? Thank you.
I have a role model in the person of my brother. He's very focused and he's very conscientious with whatever he's doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. You see, I've done this severally with a lot of group of people. And for my own role model, you will see Mother Teresa there. What stands out for her is compassion. Compassion and our commitment to serve. And you see our number one moral authority in the world until he passed on, Nelson Mandela, who was in prison for 27 years. Despite the persecution and the torture and the trouble he went through, his mind is still free. And he was concerned about South Africa and how to lift the disadvantaged people in South Africa without hatred to the so-called oppressor, because he believed that they are entitled and they have rights in South Africa. Many of these so-called Africans have been around. Now, I have a friend there, this is 13th generation. They have no other country other than South Africa. They fought civil war. They got independence, as far as they are concerned, to claim their own country. Mandela understood all this history and their idiosyncrasies and was able to shepherd the country from apartheid to the post-apartheid era. Now, the interesting thing about the responses we've always had is that nobody talk about money as a main factor why you adopted or chose your role model. Power is never one of them. All the foolish things that is destroying this world, nobody admire anybody because of those things. We admire people because of great values like love, compassion, courage, kindness, resilience, dignity. The things that cause vices are on this other side: wealth, fame, power, and you can lose them, you can gain them. The things that are very precious to many of us, our health, our life, our family, they're given to us free of charge. Because it's free, we tend to take it for granted. Now, if you are doing business and you don't pursue value, how far can your business go when you put money in the center of your strategy? You can only win on a short-term basis. When we are discussing strategy, we are talking about business that will survive you, survive us, and our children. and